nigga.
Yeah.
There's a name I didn't expect to see. What's up, Tyler?
It's the bomb, it's the one drummer boy done. Make you jump up. If you can't, then you can feel it. It's a hit, it's the shit, it's the truth, it's the realest. I be cruising in my Chevy, I be dipping in my dog, but I usually pull the lack out when I have to build hard. I be polo ducky fresh, yes, fresh with some icy white sneakers on my feet. I'm strapped.
I've been all Peachy King, bro.
Smoke some, drink some, do whatever.
Hey, let's see if I remember how to do this.
Like you in the sky, flying, looking down at the world.
I'm just messing around. I'm a professional. Of course I remember how to do it.
If you bout hating, you can get the fuck up out the club. What you think, what you see, boy, we dug it, head to feet. Bad boy from the town with my nigga MJG. Shitting on them, shine on them, never stop the grind on them. It's about that.
Hey, Tom, I don't know about number one, buddy, but I am fairly high on Notre Dame this year. Playoff team. I think they're a playoff team. Y'all better teach Riley Leonard how to pass the ball, though. I mean, he might run for 1,000 yards. I don't know, but...
Truck black outside, bang black inside guts with the AC on 63 in the TV say CD and I got BG in the CD deck. MP3, pimp tight, MJG. I can't really be nobody else but me, and when the shit pop, ain't nobody left but me. I'm genuine, less silly, and I even taste great. Hit you hard, quick and unexpected like a date raid. Lay it down, space, hey, coming out hard type of shit. Tupac and Big and Small came to me in a dream, told me to listen up and write this hit. Just like this, make it rock, feel the spirit. I can't stop, give me life.
Yeah, happy Wednesday.
Keep it true, keep it tight. Give me that beat, watch me flow.
Also, less than 2 hours away from August, which, if you're here, you know what happens in August.
Make it flip, then take a trip. Worldwide, supersized, Gucci shades on my eyes. Fat boy, pimp tight, yeah, you know it's going down.
And we only got, what, like 3 more weeks or 4 more weeks before, let's be honest, maybe about 25% of you are going to disappear because the season will start. Listen, it happens every year. It happens to the best of us. Well, not me, but some of the other best of us. All right, guys, welcome to the call-in show. I'll start the show in a few minutes here. Still getting shit set up. Still trying to remember how to do this call-in show. But I'm like an elephant. I remember everything. Click that StreamYard link if you want to call in and talk your shit, because that's what we're here to do. This is not ESPN. Call in and talk your shit. Let's talk some football. That's what it's all about.
8-Ball MJG. David Banner on the track. This shit stupid, nigga. David Banner. David. I don't give a fuck. I'ma come down, gripping my guts with a big booty bitch and a big.
Can somebody let Hufferbilly Paul know how to use a cell phone? His old ass doesn't know how to use one. He's texting me, asking me where I am. What the fuck is he talking about? Money and making more. It's hard to get proper respect with no dough. Straight M-time nigga for sure. I go get it. We started this shit and for sure we gon' finish. Standing up tall, salute to my dog. They kept it 100 when we lost it all. Fucking haters wanna see a player under the ground instead of worldwide making money repping my town. One night, something young and tight in my life. Big booty, I don't know if she black or she white. Purple stripe make my eyelids hang low. Along with the purple drove, got me moving kinda slow. 10 toes down since I came out my mama. Big 4-5, boy, you don't want drama. And now I ain't a stunner, just a backstreet runner. And if fucking Hufferbilly Paul is pathetic.
Don't give a fuck. Nigga get wrong, get touched. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. I'ma come down, gripping my guts with a big booty bitch and a big body truck. You know.
I've already got a headache. But since I'm a professional, I didn't cancel the show because of the headache. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but probably my patients are probably at an all-time low. So.
You wanna point the finger at a young black strap rap hip hop singer. I'm a father when I go home. Don't judge me like you above me when you hear profanity. What about them old rich and proud records in that red fox? And you thought that it was gonna get the ball and G and stop? Hell no. You
suck this logger.
Something like swallowing a whole small dog. Type them just being on me.
When you need a real one, motherfucker, call Pete.
Ain't no thing, man.
If you want to call Pete, this is how you do it.
Now a minute, nigga, I don't give a fuck. I'ma come down, gripping my guts with a big booty bitch and a big body truck. You know, I don't give a fuck. Nigga, get wrong, get touched. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. I'ma come down, gripping my guts with a big booty bitch and a big body truck. You know, I don't give a fuck. Nigga, get wrong, get touched. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. If it ain't real, then you know it ain't me. If it ain't about keeping it real, you know I can't be. No damn part of it, nigga, so you ought to get out my damn face with that skinny ass starter kit hanging on your neck, nigga. No disrespect, nigga. I'm the king of the trill and you will get checked, nigga.
Alright.
Them gladiators on the set again and they'll leave your jaw.
Give me about 60 more seconds. We'll get this thing started.
Black Q hemp got the mansion with the grotto. And with the heat and jacuzzi, nigga run up with that fuck shit, get hit with the Uzi. Excuse me, I mean hit with the K. Nigga, me ballin' G could give a shit what you say. Bitch, you looking for a friend, then you shit out of luck. I'm a PIMP like C, so I don't give a fuck. I'ma come down, gripping my guts with a big booty bitch and a big body truck. You know, I don't give a fuck. Nigga, get wrong, get touched. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. I'ma come down, gripping my guts with a big booty bitch and a big body truck. You know, I don't give a fuck. Nigga, get wrong, get touched. Nigga, I don't give a fuck.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Oh. It's probably going to take me less than 20 seconds to realize if this was a bad idea or not. I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's a great idea. Talking college football during college football season is always a great idea here on the Pigskin Pete YouTube channel. So I appreciate all of you being here. All right. Hi. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the Pigskin Pete College Football Call-In Show. I'm glad you're all here, and I'm glad to be back. So this is going to be the college football call-in show schedule for the remainder of the season. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. and Friday at 10 p.m. whenever I feel like it. That's pretty much it. Of course, streams all day on game days, Saturdays, and the show that nobody watches, the midday show, on the second channel, and of course the ACC show with your boy C-Dog, and the Lunch Money show makes a return in a couple of weeks as well. So a lot to get to, a lot to talk about, and that's all I want to do is talk to you. So let's get right to the phone lines here. What's up? You're on with Pete.
What's going on, Pete?
I'm great, except for I have a massive headache, and I have a feeling you're about to give me even a bigger one, but that's okay. I'm glad you called in.
No, I'm glad to be back on your show, Pete. You know, I was listening to the midday show, by the way. Very great show, by the way. Love it.
Yeah.
We are 3 weeks away from college football beginning, and we are 3 weeks away from the greatest moment in Ohio State Buckeyes history. Going to be shown off against Akron, and I'm going to tell you what, I'm honestly excited.
Well, you should be. I don't know about you should be excited about playing Akron, but you should be excited that you're about to see your team play. I'm with you on that.
No, it's not only that. It's because it's going to be the debut game of the 2 highest scouted recruits in the country that came to Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith, who, let me just say this, is the Calvin Johnson of college football. No questions asked. And second of all, Aaron Nolan, who is considered the Michael Jackson or the Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson of our team. And I'm only saying that is because, I've been watching Jeremiah Smith's highlight reels. Unbelievable. And I cannot wait to see those 2 tear it up.
Highlight reels from where?
Oh, just like his film, because I don't know if you listen to Uncle Lou's call-in show or whatnot. I was just mentioning him a couple weeks ago. I actually talked to Jeremiah Smith of where I work at. He comes into my work all the time, so I kind of just chit chat with him and a couple of the other guys over there at Ohio State. So,
do you live in Ohio?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right in the heart of the Buckeye State.
Yeah,
buddy.
I'm sorry about that, man.
No. Don't be sorry, dude. No, it is awesome, dude. Getting to meet these guys is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's not as. I mean, for you, it would be like if Brian Dawkins, a.k.a. Weapon X, came to say hi to you, PigskinPeete. You'd be freaking out.
No, I'm just messing with you. I do think that Ohio State is definitely the most talented team on paper in the country, and that's who I picked to win the national title this year. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm dead wrong. Well, I was dead wrong last year because I had you winning it last year too. But I do think anything short of a major malfunction, you should be in the top 4. You probably should get a bye in the playoffs. I mean, I know you had a hard time getting past Michigan in the past few years, but Michigan's going through a major change right now. And this might actually be the most talented Ohio State team I've seen in 4 or 5 years, and you're always talented. So this is your year. Unless you punt the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you mean, PigskinPeete. And let me just say, you are at least less biased than Lou. Lou can't stand me. I'm telling you. When I tell that dude, I'm like, Lou, listen, you cannot just be like, okay, I hate this dude because he's telling me Georgia's going to get crushed this year by the Buckeyes because we've got a better team. And I've been telling them the stats about my man Jeremiah Smith and Aaron Nolan. Shout out to those guys. You know, they're going to tear it up this year. And I can't wait to see Jeremiah Smith tear up Darius Lanning's defense up in Eugene, because that's going to be an awesome game to actually see Jeremiah Smith, him jump over the cornerbacks and the safeties at Oregon. He's going to make them look like fools.
It's funny, though, that you're calling me in tonight and telling me I'm less biased than somebody else when the past 2 times I've talked to you, you've acted like I was the most biased person you ever talked to. I don't. So you're just jumping from person to person is what it feels like.
You know, I felt like, honestly, it's if I like Lou knows, like when I try to just tell him the truth, like honestly, Georgia's the only team, like Ohio State's the only team that's on Georgia's level. He can't get that through his head. Like we're the only team that's on.
So
on their, like,
do you remember our conversation last night?
Actually being top tier talented.
Do you remember our conversation last night where you were trying to convince me and everybody else on the planet that Georgia Tech and Miami are about to run the conference for the next 4 or 5 years? Do you remember that?
I do, and I'm gonna say this, Pigskin Pete. I was not ashamed to say that. I was not.
Well, you should be.
That. I was not, and I still am not. You may be jealous of that, but
What would I be jealous of? I'm jealous of a team that hasn't won a national title since 1990. That's a shared title, by the way, and a team that's never won the ACC in 20 years. That's what I'm jealous of. Why would I be jealous? That's like saying that you're jealous of fucking Indiana or something. Do you realize how asinine that sounds?
And I'm just saying, like, the probability of that, hey, maybe they could be a good team. Maybe they could run the ACC, with NC State, because I've been watching. Like, Clemson is on a downfall, dude. And you know that. No,
I really don't know that. You've convinced yourself of that, but I don't know that.
Then why is your own home college football team suing your conference for blaming their
What does that got to do with the price of tea in China? What does them suing the conference, trying to get out of the conference, have to do with how good they're going to be in 2024 or any year for that matter?
Because that was where you can't even get that team to get themselves back together up in the same run like they were screwing us getting outside of the national title picture.
You're all over the place, dude. What? Let me again. What?
Let me just say this again.
This is
you guys.
Time is it? Is it time to end the show yet? What time is it?
Together at the same time. I'm telling you, y'all can't get your team put together, and you guys are struggling to do that.
No.
Listen, you can hate me all you want, but I'm just telling the truth.
Okay.
Somebody else is going to take over the ACC.
Nobody's struggling to put a team together in Clemson, South Carolina. I mean, listen, I understand you're an Ohio State fan and you're biased and all, but nobody is claiming that Clemson's having a hard time putting a team together. 0 people.
You may not see it coming, but it's like that's just probably because it's not under your radar. That Clemson,
why would it not be under my radar?
That's not having a great couple of years because of struggling.
Listen to me, sir. Unlike you. And probably 99% of the other Ohio State fans out there, I don't expect Clemson to win 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 games every single fucking year. You want to know why? Because it's impossible to do that. That's why.
And you want to know?
Did they have a bad year? A bad year last year was winning 9 games. What a travesty. Do you know how many teams out of 131 teams will give their fucking left nut to win 9 games and that be called a bad season? Do you know how many?
Please tell me. I want to hear, because this is going to be good.
You're making my headache worse.
Hey, maybe your headache will go away after this.
No, I don't think it will.
And I must say this too. And I know there's a lot of Miami Hurricane fans and NC State fans that are listening on this channel, Georgia Tech fans. Shout out to y'all. I'm giving y'all love and respect on this channel, because I feel like PigskinPeete don't give them enough respect on this channel. Not so ever.
You told me last night that you've been watching this channel for all of 2 weeks. I've been doing this for 6.5 years. So, but now you all of a sudden know what respect I give people.
Experience in a quick amount of time.
You haven't? Yeah. No, you don't. You don't.
See, that's where you kind of just run outside of the road lanes there, buddy.
What does that mean? Outside of the road lanes? What am I Santa Claus? What does that mean?
See, I'm a quick learner.
No, you're not. You're a lot of things. A quick learner is not one of them.
Not in your eyes, but in the average eye, it's quite impressive.
Okay. You know what? You're starting to, even though you really get on my nerves, you're starting to grow on me a little bit, which is par for the course for me. Because you're about as fucked up as a soup sandwich, and so am I. So I guess we're kind of kin in that way. But anything else you got before me before I move on?
No, keep me on, Pete. This is
and
the only reason I say this is good is because if you got Octavian coming on here again, or if you got that Nate Danube again, or what's the guy's called? What's that guy's name called again? Oregon man, or if you got like you man coming in, you could just have me right there. And
I'm not doing that.
Call them out.
The way this works is you call in, we have a conversation about football. I hang up, I talk to the next person about football for a while. I hang up on them, I talk to the next person. You see how this goes, right? It's very simple.
Oh, I understand, but I'm just saying, you can just use me as a reference.
All right. Well, look forward to talking to you again soon, buddy. Thank you. What's up? You're on with Pete.
Ballard Sports Media here. What's up, Pete?
What's up, Ballard? How you doing, buddy?
Good to have your call-in show back, man. I missed it, for real. I missed football season, and I'm glad it's around the corner.
That makes 2 of us. And actually, I don't know how many people are here. That makes 36 of us, plus you.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of college football, I am dropping my preseason top 25 tomorrow, but I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek, and I want your thoughts on my top 10, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I already know you have 4 teams from the SEC in the top 10, right?
Holy crap, you're spot on.
I talked to you yesterday about this on the ACC show, so. But okay, go ahead.
All right. Georgia number 1, Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Oregon 4, Ole Miss 5, Florida State 6, Alabama 7, Michigan at 8, Penn State at 9, and to round it out, Notre Dame. What do you think?
Yeah, go back. You had me at Georgia and Ohio State. What were the next? Or Texas was the third one.
Texas 3, Oregon 4, Ole Miss 5.
Stop. Bullshit! Oregon at 4, no. But go ahead. Who's the 5th one again?
Ole Miss.
At least flip flop them. I'd put Ole Miss higher than Oregon. Actually, I'm probably on an island on this one here, but I would. Go ahead. Who's after Ole Miss?
Oh, son of a gun. Okay, Florida State.
Yeah, you can go fuck yourself.
No.
Yeah.
All right, who's after that?
I made this. Alabama.
You put Florida State ahead of Alabama. Is that because half of your team went to Florida State? Is that why you're doing that, or I don't understand why you're doing that?
Yeah, I mean, we lost a couple transfers over to Florida State, so I factored that in.
Okay. Who's after Alabama?
Michigan at 8.
Okay. I don't hate that.
9, Notre Dame at 10.
Who is 9?
Penn State.
Penn State.
Yeah. And keep in mind, this is based on how they could be to start out the season.
Yeah, and listen, the list isn't terrible. I would just have some of those teams switched around, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all.
Yeah.
Not that. Look, if everybody's an expert before the season starts about who's going to finish where and who's making the playoffs and who's going to be ranked here at the end of the year, guess what? I got a big secret for everybody to figure out. Nobody fucking knows. Every single year, one of those teams that you just named, or probably multiple of them, won't even finish in the top 15, and there'll be some barely top 25 team that makes their way into the top 10. It happens every single year.
I would
every year.
Fully agree with that, and I go back to that TCU year that we had a couple years ago. After that happened, I basically looked at that and I said, you know what? Holy crap! Anything could happen. I mean, I've seen it all. Think about it.
Lou is right, though. You are a little bit of a savant.
A savant?
Yeah. You know what that means, right?
Mean? No.
All right. Well, you got some homework between now and the next call-in show. Look up what the word savant means.
All right. I'm writing this
How about
down.
this? I'll use it in a sentence for you.
All right.
All right. Pigskin Pete is a Major League Baseball betting savant. I'm just kidding.
I know what that means. Have a good day.
Thank you, Tyler P, for the super chat. Appreciate you supporting the show. Can't wait till August 24th. Florida State going to get embarrassed. I picked Georgia Tech to win that game, and my level of confidence in that is very low. But I think if they're going to lose a game that they're favored in, that is the one that's most likely. Being it's the first week, it's out of the country. It's DJ Uiagalelei's first game with the Seminoles, his third offense in 3 years, his third head coach in 3 years. So, and of course, all the stuff that all the players that Florida State lost. Now, I'm not putting a single dollar on the money line that Georgia Tech's going to win that game, but I probably will put money with the points. I don't know what it'll be at kickoff. I think it's around 13 points right now, something like that. So, but I'm looking forward to that game. I mean, is anybody not looking forward to Georgia Tech and Florida State in Ireland? If you're not, then you probably you clicked on the wrong show. You know what I mean?
Is it really at 13?
I think so. Somebody look at it. I think it's somewhere around there.
I think that's got to be too high for Florida State. I would put them at, if you do make them double digit, I could get 10 points. I don't know about going 13 for Georgia Tech. No.
Georgia Tech's coming off a 6-6 season, and Florida State's coming off a 13-0 season. That's not really that surprising.
Okay, that's last year.
That is last year, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, looking forward to the season. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, thanks, Ballard. Oh, yeah. All right. Of course, if you're on hold, just wait. I'm taking the calls in the order they came in. So I'll get right to you. And thank you. What's up? You're on with Pete.
Hey, Pete. It's good to talk to you, but this Ohio State dude, somebody needs to jerk a knot in the scene. They keep talking, and they ain't done shit every time they talk. So I'm tired of hearing about that. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Yeah, whatever. So I just want to make that clear to him. He needs to shut up. That's all.
Yeah.
So that being said, the other thing I want to turn attention to is Clemson, right? And so I don't understand why everybody says, well, if Dabo can't ever be on the hot seat, he can't ever be fired, right?
I don't know if anybody ever said he could never be fired.
Well, I'll tell you, it's going to take a shitload to make him fired.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've said that. I'm of the opinion that whenever Dabo Swinney makes his departure, whether it's 2 years from now or 20 years from now, it's going to be on his terms. So I don't think he's getting fired.
I disagree.
But
I disagree.
Projecting 10 and 20 years ahead in college football is just stupid, and I'm not stupid. I'm pretty fucking close, but I'm not stupid. But unless he goes multiple seasons of 6 or 7 wins, he's not even anywhere close to being under any sort of pressure to be fired. Not even close.
Look, let's see. He loses another 4 this year in the regular season.
Not on the hot seat. If he goes 8-4 in the regular season this year, not on the hot seat. Not.
I disagree, and I actually think that's unfortunate. If it really is that case, I'm just saying he should be on the hot seat. I'm
not saying whether he should or shouldn't be. I'm saying he won't be.
Well, no, because you're giving him deference, right?
I'm not giving him deference. This isn't my opinion. I'm looking at the administration, the athletic department in Clemson, and Dabo Swinney, and he has a longer tenure than all of them. He runs the show there. It's going to take a lot more for Dabo Swinney to be fired from Clemson than almost every other single coach outside of, the greats that are currently coaching, Kirby Smart and, those type of coaches, to get fired. He's got a way longer leash than almost all of them.
Well, I'm not saying he doesn't have a long leash. I'm saying he needs to have pressure and there needs to be change. If he doesn't want to do it, and what is he going to do? Drag the whole program down with him because he's got deference? He's got all these people. No, the Clemson should be smarter than that. That's all. Now, it doesn't mean that he's not going to get it done. I actually believe in him. I think he's going to persevere. He'll win. And I hope he does. I really do. I don't want Clemson to not win, but
I know that. Yeah, but
yeah,
I don't pretend to know what Clemson's going to look like in 5 years, and I don't think anybody else should either. Everyone's the prisoner of now, And this, look, I get it. It's a what have you done for me lately business, right? So they look at 4 losses last year. If that trend continues, then there will be we'll start hearing chirps from the Clemson fan base and certainly the donors, the boosters and all about, what's going on here. Maybe we need to move on from this guy. But I just don't think we're anywhere close to that right now. I don't.
No.
And again, here's what I really think. Based on some of the things that Dabo Swinney has said over the past 3 or 4 years in these press conferences, some of the answers he's given that I've been very critical of, attacking the fans, I think he's way, way more likely to say, you know what, my time here is up. And I don't want Dabo Swinney to go anywhere. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from his standpoint, he might feel like he's done everything he needs to do at Clemson. And he's going to pass the torch on to whoever else, on the assistant coach on the team to take it over, and he'll go somewhere else or retire or something. But I just him getting all the people that are talking about him getting fired, anytime soon. They just don't understand what's going on at Clemson. They just have no idea.
Yeah, but I mean, when you said that, he needs to probably look inside because he says things like, "Oh, I'm not going to be here if we got to pay players." Look, we got to do NIL. We got to use NIL to recruit college players. He don't want to do it. These are problems, man. These are serious problems, and that's you can't not do that anymore. I mean,
it might be a huge problem. The problem is we don't really know that now, especially with the way things are changing. It's not just NIL anymore. Now you're gonna have to start paying the players from the university. So we don't really know what the entire landscape and how the ripple effects of all this is going to happen. Everyone just reacts to the moment. They don't understand what it's going to look like. He might be absolutely right in 5 years from now. And I'm not claiming he is, but I'm claiming that nobody knows, including me or you or anybody else watching this or any football analyst or anybody. Nobody knows.
I asked the question.
Yeah.
People that are supposed to know. Now, I don't know if they know.
They don't know.
Does this NCAA agreement mean that the school can now put these players on a contract and pay them directly, like through IPTE? And if you can, then you're right. You're 100% correct.
Well, that's going to happen. I mean, we already know that.
They said no, they can't do it. No.
What are you talking about?
They said no, it's not going to work that way. And I'm like,
who is they said? What are you talking? The players are going to be able to be paid by the universities a certain amount of money for each university. That's already been decided.
Not even TigerNet, so don't get there.
Oh Jesus, TigerNet.
But Clemson Insider and all these people, they said no, it's not going to work that way.
Tell TigerNet and Clemson Insider they know what the fuck they're talking about. And by the way, those aren't people. It's a group of people on a message board. That's what that is.
Actually, no, I know they don't.
It's worse than Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or Instacart or fucking Uber Eats. You got a bunch of people in there that don't know what they're talking about, Paul. Stop watching that stuff. Watch me. I barely know what I'm talking about, and I know more than them.
Robert McRae runs the Clemson Insider, and he and I went to school. We were there the same year. some graduates.
All right, I'm just kidding. I don't have the Clemson Insider. Whatever. It's message boards.
But no, his point is that he was all involved with the NIL stuff too. He had a whole thing, and then he finally gave it up because he said it took too much time off his hands. But that being said, that's the problem. If we can't have the schools pay the players, then we got a big deal. That's a problem. So all I'm saying is, hopefully you're right. We should have that be the case. They put them under contract, and you can't leave for 3 years until you get a degree. That's it.
That's not happening. You can't hold a player. You can't hold a college kid prisoner.
No,
It's not the NFL.
To commit to the school and get paid, you have to admit that you're going to do a contract. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So what breaks the contract? What if I'm a student at Clemson? I sign a contract that says I'm going to stay there for 3 years no matter what, and I don't go to a single goddamn class the whole time I'm there. Does that breach the contract? Do I get kicked out of school, or are they going to let me continue to play football and not go to class?
You got to go to class. You got to get a degree.
All right. Well, fuck you. I want to transfer out. I'm not going to class no more. What you going to do about it, bitch? Nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
You got $1 million contract with us, but you don't want it.
No, I'm gonna go to Alabama and get $2 million. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, fuck yourself.
Yeah, you can go fuck yourself.
No, that's right. I mean, that's what they can do. I guarantee you that. But
right.
At the same time, that's what they need to have. At least somebody needs to have that, and even Alabama needs that. They're gonna pay them $2 million and say, "Yeah, you can leave in a year." And somebody wants to bid them up $5 million or $3 million. Ohio State might. Because they need all the help they can get at Ohio State. Howdy Doody being the coach at Ohio State. Come on, man. Let's be real. They ain't got a damn chance. And because they got a Howdy Doody coach. Howdy Doody. Woo!
Boy, I got to even say, as a Tater man myself, calling Ohio State's coach a Howdy Doody man, that's rich coming from a Tater man. God almighty. Man, we got the fucking ultimate Howdy Doody man at Clemson. All right, you got anything else for me, Paul? I'm going to move on to some other callers.
Go do your thing, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Love you, brother. Paul is a legend in my mind. I don't know about anybody else's mind. Welcome to the show. You're on with Pete.
I had a few things, but let me get to Paul real quick. So I'm trying to make sure I'm clear on this. So a player signs a contract with the school. There's no way he can get out of there. He's stuck there for 3 years. That's it, period. End of story. But as far as Clemson getting out of a 15-year contract with the ACC and ESPN, no big deal, according to Paul and TigerNet.
Yeah, I don't know what I honestly have no idea what he's talking about.
He doesn't know either.
Well,
I originally called up to tell you how great it was to have you back and how much I missed you, and then I realized I still have somehow seen you almost every day.
Yeah.
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 So I'm like, well, that doesn't make much sense to tell him I miss him. But
Yeah.
It is good to have your show back. I'm glad you're back on and doing it. It's going to be a great college football season.
I'm with you, brother. I'm glad to be back. Thanks for the call.
Yeah. Well, one more thing.
Yeah.
Or two more things, but they're
Okay.
quick. With Ballard, I was thinking maybe idiot savant. As far as what type of savant he might be.
This might be a good homework operation for me. What kind of savant is so you're voting for idiot savant? I think there might be a better term, but I would have to think on that.
Right.
But you know what? We'll do that. We'll go with that for now. Idiot savant sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last thing before I let you go, unfortunately, is some bad news.
Oh no.
I just got a text message from my buddy Scott Kerr. He wanted me to go ahead and tell you he's not able to watch your show anymore on account of that pink background. He's not going to stand for you forcing that down his throat, he said.
Oh no.
Yeah. But anyway, talk to you later.
All right. See you later, Lou. What's up? You're on with Pete.
What's good, Tater man? It's your boy Dominic back.
What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
I'm good. It's been a while, but there's one Clemson player in particular I wanted to talk about today.
All right.
That is Cade Klubnik.
Boy, I must be a psychic because I almost said it the same time you said it.
No, you're good, man. But he's coming into his junior year. How do you think he'll do?
I have no idea. He's coming into his junior year. He's coming into his second year as a starter. So this is the year he needs to put up or shut up. I think it's probably more like I hope that he's on a short leash, but unfortunately, I don't think he is on a short leash. And this is part of what Dabo Swinney does. He's loyal to a fault for almost all of his quarterbacks and players. And on the one hand, that's why he's able to get players to come to Clemson, some great players, is because he has that loyalty to them and they see it, and then it's obvious. On the other hand, it can be extremely frustrating for everybody else that's on the outside looking in. I do think that Cade Klubnik has earned the starting spot in 2024. So I'm not saying that Christopher Vizina should be starting, or Trent Pierman or anything like that. I mean, a lot of Clemson fans are already ready to make that change before the season even starts. I think you give him the benefit of the doubt. He made some terrible mistakes last year, but this is his second year starting, and so we'll see if he's cleaned any of that up or not. But we won't know that until the first 3 or 4 games. Well, we'll probably know week 1 because we got a really good opponent in Georgia, but definitely 3 or 4 games in.
Yes. Good old Uncle Lou. But yeah, speaking of great players, you guys got TJ Moore. Man, he's been doing pretty good for Clemson, I'll say.
Yeah, there's a lot of young players on the team that we're excited about. It's a young team in a lot of ways. This is the first time, I think, in 7 or 8 years, and I don't want to jinx anybody. I'm not superstitious, but some of you are, so I'll do it for you. Knock on wood, right here. The first time in a long time that, a month out of the season, that all of the wide receivers are 100% healthy. But again, they just started fall practice, so hopefully nothing happens. But they, everybody deals with injuries, but the Clemson's wide receiver position has been not very deep and compared to previous years, the past few years. I think we do have a deeper core this year. If everybody can stay healthy, I think that's going to make a huge difference for Klubnik, and of course the running game too. I don't really have much worries about the defense at all.
No doubt about it. And like you said, you got a bunch of young guys like TJ Moore, who I think will have a very, very solid year with Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably not even. I don't know. Who knows? He might be the greatest receiver in the history of Clemson. I have no idea, but there's 3 or 4 guys ahead of him right now on that receiver core.
You never know. Anything could happen.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I don't care who's doing it, as long as they're doing it. But you gotta have the guy to get him the ball. You gotta have the guy to get him the ball.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for the time, Pete.
All right. Thank you, Dominic.
Thanks.
What's up? You're on with Pete. Excuse me.
What's up, Tater, man? It's a Georgia Tech fan here. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Real quick, I'm going to make an announcement. If you want to call in, let me do this here. I don't know if Nightbot's doing their job or not. Yeah, there's the link to call in if you want to call in. How you doing, buddy? What's your name?
Golden Fella.
Golden Fella?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Just kind of want to talk about the upcoming game, Ireland game.
Yeah.
Florida State and Georgia Tech. So I personally think the line's a little bit too high. I really do. I'm not just saying that.
What is that? We had this discussion. I don't know if you heard the beginning of the stream.
It's such a big line because I mean I don't even know.
What is the line?
Such a big line. I think it's like 13.
That's what I thought.
2 touchdown favorites against us.
Yeah, 13.5, something like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that we're gonna win, but I don't think that they cover. Like that's the thing. Like I think that we could keep it between like probably a touchdown or like even if we're lucky a field goal. But I don't think we're gonna blow them out or anything. If we win, it'll be close, but we won't blow them out.
So I agree with you. I think there is a good chance that you could upset them. If you look at Florida State's schedule, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to pick you're trying to pick an upset on that schedule, you got to point right to week 1 in Georgia Tech, for a lot of different reasons.
Oh yeah, they cannot sleep.
They cannot sleep on Georgia Tech.
They can't.
No. So it wouldn't surprise me if they upset them.
Got other losable games too. I don't think that they can just easily cakewalk their schedule like they did last year.
No, they won't.
Got some losable games. They've got some losable games on their schedule. I mean, like conference. I would count Notre Dame, but they're not a conference, so they could lose. They could slip that game and still make the ACC.
Well, even as good as they were last year, with Jordan Travis and Keon Coleman and all those stud players on their defense, they still went to overtime with Boston College. They went to overtime with Clemson. Clemson probably should have won that game. That's a whole nother show. They struggled with Louisville, I think. I mean, they had a bunch of close games last year. So yeah, I agree with you. I've got them at 9-3, but
I've got them at 10-2 with losses to Clemson and Miami. And the reason why for Clemson, I think Clemson's really going to get some revenge on Florida State. I mean,
I hope so.
Florida State, I'm picking an upset. I think Clemson's getting Florida State this year.
Well, it's an interesting game for a lot of reasons. First of all, because of the way that the game went last year. Clemson has, obviously Florida State had owned Clemson for many, many years in the ACC, right? So we all know about that. But there was a good 9 or 10 year stretch there where Clemson was the boss. And then the way the game ended last year was just heartbreaking for Clemson fans. But when you add in the fact that we're going on the road to Tallahassee to play them after the way things ended last year, and who's their quarterback? DJ. So there's going to be a lot of hype surrounding that game, and it's always a hard-fought game.
I don't get the whole hype with DJU, and plus, they got other games that they could lose too. The 3 that I'm looking at that they could, they have a high chance of losing at Miami, Clemson, and Georgia Tech. Those are the 3 games they have got to win to make the ACC title game. They've got to win those 3 games.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They can beat Miami and Clemson, but lose to Georgia Tech and not make the ACC title game because they lost to a 6-7 win Georgia Tech team.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
But Clemson could make it. Hold on, let me look at Clemson's schedule real quick. Okay, yeah, they got Georgia week 1, but that won't affect them, will it? Yeah, that won't affect them.
That won't affect their conference now.
So that could be a tough one. At Virginia Tech, that could be a tough one. I think Virginia Tech's going to be improved.
The toughest games, Clemson, I'll just go ahead and tell you what they are. It's Florida State on the road. We get NC State at home in Clemson. We travel to Virginia Tech, and we play Louisville in Clemson. That's their 4 toughest games. Out in conference. I'm not including Georgia in that.
Yeah, I think I don't think they're beating Georgia. I'm sorry, but I don't. I think Virginia Tech, you got to beat Virginia Tech. You got to beat Louisville.
Yeah.
You got to win both those games. Well, no, not both. Because they could drop to Louisville. I don't know, though.
Clemson's lost 2 games in the past 12 years at home or something. So those the NC State game. I know everyone's high on NC State.
It's a home game for Clemson.
It's a home game for Clemson, so I'm giving the advantage there. And the Louisville game is also in Clemson. The 2 that worry me the most are Florida State and Virginia Tech because those are both on the road.
Yeah, I think Louisville. If Louisville loses, I won't be surprised because I think Death Valley is probably the biggest threat in the ACC besides I think Blacksburg and Death Valley are the most intimidating stadiums.
Well, first of all, I haven't been to all of them. I've been to those 2 though. I've been to Clemson a bunch of times, and I've been to Virginia Tech when they played Clemson in 2011. When they were both, I think Clemson was 13 ranked and Virginia Tech was 10 ranked or something. It was a top 15 matchup. And Virginia Tech is a very cool place and it's loud and all that. I know people are going to tell me this is my bias showing, but I've been to both. And the game in Virginia Tech was a night game too. It still wasn't quite as good as Clemson as far as the atmosphere. Still very cool though. But I've never been to Doak. I've never been to Florida State. I'm sure that's cool. I've never been to NC State. I know that they don't have the the biggest stadium in the ACC or anything, but their fans are completely out of their mind. And out of Louisville, probably the same difference. So.
Yeah, I've never been to Louisville Stadium, but I've been to Blacksburg and I've been to Death Valley, and it's not a slouch of a stadium. It's a really good stadium. Yeah, really loud stadium.
The rest of the teams in the ACC.
I don't know.
I mean,
NC State. I'm looking at that one now, but it's in Death Valley, so that I could give the edge to Clemson there because it is at home for them, but they could slip up that game too. So there's 2 games in the ACC that I'm looking at right now. They really could slip up, and that's Virginia Tech and NC State, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, the ACC is going to be interesting this year, man. I know people like to hate on the ACC. ACC sucks, they're terrible, they're worst conference, blah, 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 whatever. There's going to be a lot of interesting games that are going to decide probably a playoff spot or 2. The way that the schedule plays out. Because I think legitimately there's at least 4 teams, maybe even 5, looking at it before the season, who could possibly win that conference. And it hasn't been that way for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think my pick for as far as ACC title game, I'm probably going to go with Miami and Virginia Tech.
That's a pretty popular. I hear a lot of Miami and NC State. That's another one.
Yeah, I think Miami and Virginia Tech, or we could see something really amazing where it's Florida State and Miami, huge rivalry game in the ACC.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe. I mean, look, who knows? My pick, preseason anyway, is Clemson and Miami. I think they're the 2 best teams. But again, you got 3 other teams there that are nipping on your heels. Yeah, you slip up 1 or 2 times and forget about it. So.
Yeah, Miami has got with this schedule, I only see 2 losses on Miami's schedule, and that's Florida State and Louisville.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It. I've got we picked them at 11-1 on the ACC show, but I have them at 10-2.
Yeah,
but I think a 10-2 Miami gets into the championship game.
Yeah, the only thing with Miami with me is they've got to find a way to beat like these middle of the road teams. Like they got to find a way to beat Pitt, beat Duke, beat Georgia Tech. Like the teams that like aren't top tier, but they're not like bottom tier. Like they've got to win those games. They got to stop doing that.
Yeah, they got to stop doing. We all know about Clemsoning. Are you trying to say they have to stop Miamiing?
Yeah.
Hurricaning?
An 8-4 Clemson after 2 national titles, I don't view that as Clemsoning because I don't view it Clemsoning unless it's like consistent, in my opinion.
Well, Clemsoning now is they call you terrible if you win 9 games. But when I was growing up, if you would have told me that was the case, I would have been fucking ecstatic.
As a Georgia Tech fan now, I'd cut off my leg to
See?
win 9 games.
That's what I'm saying. That's how you know you're a good program, when people start saying you're garbage when you win 9 games. That's how you know. That's how you know.
Even under option, man, we were in the toilet for some years.
Yeah.
I didn't like the triple option. I think we should have never ran it.
Well, I'm actually high on Georgia Tech this year too. Now I'm not talking about winning the ACC or anything, but I think this probably be the best year that Georgia Tech's had in a while. Unless they just completely implode, but
it's very hard to predict Georgia Tech because of how they're very inconsistent. I would say Georgia Tech's probably the most inconsistent team in the ACC because I think last year there was like a 9-game stretch where we won, lost, like every week, just up and down, up and down, up and down. Like we were just never consistent at all.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like most of the teams in the ACC are inconsistent. So, but you might be right statistically. I haven't really looked at the numbers or anything, but
yeah, we've got to, I think I've got us winning probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 8 games at most. I don't see us going above 8 though. Not this year. No, not above 8. 8 is definitely the ceiling. I'm with you there. I'm looking probably. 8 is definitely the ceiling. I haven't done the official Georgia Tech preview yet, but I'm probably going to land somewhere around 7 or 8 wins, which is good. I mean, that's heading in the right direction. Yeah, and it's weird. It's weird that we don't play Clemson because I think that's technically a rivalry game in the ACC. Oh, it's the first time in like fucking 50 years or something they haven't played. I know. I know we don't play Clemson this year, and I was asking my dad. I was like, "You see, we don't play Clemson this year," and yeah, like we don't play Clemson.
Yeah, when they did the new scheduling last year, they cut out the yearly Georgia Tech and Clemson game, and a lot of people were upset about it. I know a lot of Georgia Tech fans and Clemson fans too. They're upset about it. To me personally, I'm not, and that's not a knock on Georgia Tech. My whole thing is, I definitely want to play Florida State every year, which we do. And I definitely want to play NC State every year, which we do.
Yeah, it made me mad because I think there's two teams in the ACC that don't get yearly rivals, and that's Georgia Tech and Louisville. Like we get
they did y'all dirty on that. Yeah,
yeah,
they definitely did y'all dirty on that. I'd be pissed off about that.
It should be.
I'd be pissed off about that. Yeah, but
Clemson and Miami, those should be the two. Clemson, Miami.
It's a numbers game, you know. And now with adding these 3 teams, it just makes it even more difficult to make that happen, you know.
Yeah.
So
or the Tecmo Bowl. Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah. What, Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech?
Yeah. Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I got to move on to the next caller. I appreciate the call, though.
All right, appreciate it, man. Go Jackets. I'll probably call in next show.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right. See you.
Real quick before I get to the next call, thank you for the super chat. Mike Luca, who is a Wake Forest fan. That's right. They do exist. It's not just a rumor. They do exist. Pete, college football is back. Taters beating Georgia, losing 2 to 3 games, though. Oh, okay. I guess I disagree with that. I appreciate the support for the show because if it weren't for people like you, I wouldn't be doing the show. But I think I disagree with both points. I don't think – well, I think they probably will lose 2 games. But I think if they beat Georgia, like you said, then they're not losing 3 games. If they lose to Georgia, they might lose 3 games, if that makes any sense. Well, what's up? You're on with Pete.
Can I get a hell yeah, my brother?
Hell yeah, my brother.
Thank you. The fact that college football is almost here. Baylor Man has updated me that we are 23 days away from kickoff. The fact that Georgia plays Clemson first game of the year, and not even to go on a hype trail, this is the thing that I do understand the people that have come on and talked about Clemson and the fact that, oh, Dabo Swinney eats cereal with no milk. I get it. I completely understand that Dabo's different. I get it. And I understand the whole no transfer portals and no, he likes slaves as football players. He doesn't pay them. I get it. He doesn't want to pay them. But it's a 12-team playoff. You don't have to finish as a top 4 team. Clemson can play exactly how he wants to play. You have Riley as a second-year offensive coordinator. You don't have to play great defense. Y'all could spit out 34, 35 points a game this year and beat a lot of teams. Cade Klubnik is not a bad quarterback. You got Phil Maffa back, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Like, you guys have a very good football team. So with all that everybody wants to dog Clemson for, at the end of the day, there's a lot of teams that don't have what Clemson does have.
Yeah.
So, I guess I just want to get your opinion, not
yeah. So I actually disagree with some of what you said. I agree with you that most teams don't have what Clemson has. I think that people are massively underestimating the roster that they have this year, especially on defense, but also on offense. But the idea that Clemson doesn't have to play good defense and still make the playoffs, I completely disagree with that. I think Clemson has to have a top 10 defense to make the playoffs. And to even think about winning the ACC, quite frankly. Even the thought that Clemson would average 35 points a game, I can't even fathom that right now because I haven't seen that in 3 years. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible. I just can't fathom it.
You also haven't had a good offensive coordinator in 3-4 years. And
well, that's fair.
He's going into his second year. And then you had Cade Klubnik last year who was, Anyway, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that y'all are going to go out here and average 50 points a game. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you have a well-balanced offense with a very good offensive coordinator in today's game where offense runs the table.
Yeah, the offense needs to run through Maffa. And I think they're going to do that. Based on what I saw towards the end of last season, I think that they fight. Even though people like me and a lot of other Clemson fans have been screaming that from the mountaintops early in the season, And it's not. I'm not throwing any shade at Will Shipley. I know people get all butthurt. No, why are you talking about a Clemson legend like that? No, I'm not. No, nobody's saying that. But I think they finally figured out the formula towards the end of the year there, and that is that the offense runs through Phil Maffa. Look, Cade Klubnik does not have to be Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence to make the playoffs. He just needs not to be Cade Klubnik from 2023. Yep, that's agreed. All. Agreed. And the defense just needs to do what the defense does. And I've heard other people, Slim Shady Canes, I'm talking to you, talk about, well, yeah, Clemson still has a really, talented defense. They're still really good. But, ever since Brent Venables left, they still haven't been quite the same. Well, look, you can't expect when the offense turns the ball over every 3 seconds, the defense can't be fucking Superman every game.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
I do.
So,
and I think the offense is going to be a lot better this year. I think the turnover ratio is going to be lower. I think the fact that last year you guys averaged like 28, 29 points a game, I don't think saying averaging 35 is far-fetched. That's
actually a fair point. I guess I'm being more pessimistic than you because of all the pain and hurt that I've gone through the past couple of years. I'm like a woman battered.
I mean, no, we used to have Mark Richt as a coach. I mean, trust me.
I know. Look, you know what it is? I spent 20 years of my life in complete and total fucking misery as a Clemson fan, and then you get a little taste of success, and so when things start, going the wrong way, it's PTSD is what it is. But I do agree with you. That I think the people are massively underestimating Clemson.
I just say it in a way of all it takes is you guys averaging one. If that's what somebody said, do you think you'll average one more touchdown per game this year? You'd be crazy not to think that. Not, especially with a.
No, I do. I agree with you on there. I agree. I mean, the wide receiver core last year for Clemson was completely dilapidated. I mean, half of the starters were injured for the season. You had a couple of young guys step up, like Tyler Brown. That made a huge difference, and I think he's going to have an amazing year this year, by the way. But you still have those certain questions, like, is Cade Klubnik really going to take the next step? Are we going to see more of what we saw last year? The offensive line, are they going to take a next step with Matt Luke coming in, who I think is one of the best coaching hires in all of college football in the offseason, along with Chris Rumpf, the defensive ends coach? Clemson's got a stout coaching staff. And for all of the criticism of Dabo Swinney, which a lot of that is warranted as far as the transfer portal and whatever else, roster choices, you cannot criticize his assistant coaching hires. You can't.
You can't recently. I think you were the one, you kind of told me about it before, him hiring like really good friends or former players, but it seems
but I mean, even if you go back to when Billy Napier was the offensive coordinator early in Dabo's head coaching career, he fired him. And who did he go out and get? Chad Morris. Do you know that there's still records in the ACC for offense when Chad Morris was there? I mean, that was the start of everything. He fired his defensive coordinator. Who would he go out and get? Brent Venables. Now I'm fucking having a brain fart now.
You're good.
What's his face? Offensive coordinator after Tony Elliott. Jesus Christ.
You're not talking about Riley. You're talking about the guy before him.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just having a brain fart. That was a terrible decision. I think after Tony Elliott left, he probably should have went out and looked for a Garrett Riley type, or another offensive coordinator immediately. But he promoted from within. He gave him a year to do his thing. It was a fucking complete disaster, and now here we are. So he set us back a year maybe. But, Brandon Streeter, thank you.
Yeah, Streeter, that's right. I will say this, though. One, being a Georgia fan, I cannot wait to play you guys. I know people say, oh, Georgia's going to stomp Clemson. We thought we were going to stomp you guys, a few years ago when we played you. It ended up being a one-touchdown game. Like, that was a very, very close game. It was just a smash-mouth game. But I think, too, the thing that's exciting is Clemson fans have this little bit to look forward to of if Dabo decides to take from the transfer portal, do you know how many guys you guys would get? I mean, like you would have people flooding into your program just because not a lot of programs like Dabo, not a lot of people out there like him, not a lot of coaches like that. And you go and you experience.
I don't know if that's true in this day. I mean, they did go after several players this year and didn't land any of them that they wanted. because
well, I guess I'm saying away from money. I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That we're now in the money era. Yeah. That's the problem.
Anyways, I guess last thing before I let you go, I think Georgia this year is a lot stronger than Clemson, a lot more stronger than we were the first time we played a few years ago. Not first time, but time we played a few years ago. What do you think? What do you think's about to happen this game coming up?
I really don't know what to expect. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that Georgia's offense is going to be surprised by Clemson's defense. They're going to put a lot of pressure on, but they're going to force him to throw the ball. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be like some sort of expert on Georgia's roster. I'm sure you are way more than I am. If Georgia can establish a run game early, it's going to be a long day for Clemson. If they start having to throw it all over the yard, I think that's an advantage Clemson. I picked Georgia to win. I'm picking Clemson to cover the whatever it is, 12.5 or 13 points. Actually, I have a bet on the game already. Shout out to Connor Stallions from the chat. Sent me a $50 bet. But he's giving me 13 points. I wouldn't take it otherwise. So, there you go. But I also wouldn't be surprised, and nobody should be. I mean, if you saw what happened between Clemson and Duke last year, nobody should be surprised if a 13-point favorite gets upset. Especially, I'm trying to tell people, Georgia fans and otherwise, this isn't Wake Forest or Boston College you're playing. It's still Clemson. I don't care. You can point your fingers at whatever deficiency you want to point at that. This is still a Dabo Swinney coached Clemson team. These aren't a bunch of scrubs.
I don't want to sound like a jerk when I say this. And I
Please do.
If Georgia wins by 14 or 21 points, I do not think that's because Clemson's bad. Does that make sense?
That's not a jerk thing to say. No, I think. I mean, obviously Georgia's completely fucking loaded. I mean, they're the top two favorites to win the national championship for a reason.
I know. I'm saying,
but
I don't want to be
the idea that they're unbeatable by a team like Clemson is just asinine. I don't know. People, if you started watching college football this year, I mean, we see it every fucking week. Teams that are heavily favored, lose every week.
I know. I say it in a way of, this is great for Georgia because when you have that first game as a good game, your offseason is great. But I think that goes both ways. Not saying that, it's going to help Clemson beat Georgia, but y'all's team is going to be so much stronger for this season just because your mindset, we're playing Georgia the first game of the season.
The frustrating thing for me is I've spent the past 6 months picking Georgia to win the game. But I still get people coming at me like I'm delusional. I'm like, what? Anything short, a lot of the, not you, but a lot of them, anything short of saying, oh my God, Georgia's going to come in there and bend Clemson over and fucking run over them and they're going to run them out of the building in the first quarter. They're not happy with anything other than that. Even if you tell them they're going to win.
I know.
They're insane.
Well, I guess last thing, can I get a hell yeah, brother?
Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah.
Damn right. All right. I'll see you later, bro.
All right.
See you, bro.
I was looking for the Tiger Baskin song. I don't know if I still have it on here or not. Where is it? I got too much shit on here. Plus, I'm rusty, too. There is that. Oh, here it is.
Yeah. All right.
Welcome to the PigskinPeete Show. What it is, I hope you're amazing and fantastic. I'm sorry if I say it too much, it's just a habit. My subscribers are the best for me. They steady clapping. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe while you at it. Hope to keep you amused. If I'm lucky, I'll have you laughing. The greatest football show, so call with good questions to ask me. I'm growing fast like a New York taxi. I keep my stunner shades on, so my sunglasses steady staying flashy. Don't call with the bull or your call is getting trashed. Hit the like button and enjoy the show. It's time to get to chatting. It's time for Pete to stop the rapping. Start one of the most underrated shows that's ever happened. I got my gat in one hand and my phone in the other. No matter Pete's color, he's still a brother from another mother. Doing shows in the off season. Yup, we talking all summer. I guess I'm winding down now. Time to start taking calls from people that stay out of town. Thank you for your support. It helps me do YouTube year round. People like Raj and Rhino 26 hitting the super chat quick. J-Dub and Huffer, Billy calling in with stories to spit. TB and Mike Vick got the comment section lit. Hang out for a bit, enjoy yourself. And if you're feeling it, then do me a favor and call in.
What's up?
Shout out to Tiger Baskins for that amazing and fantastic song. What is up here on with Pete?
Good evening, Pete. It's Nate the Great here.
Yeah, I know who it is. I think everybody else knows who it is too, ironically enough.
Thankfully. Anyways, we're gonna talk some college football. Like everyone been talking about. I can't wait for the season. Now, everyone tells me that I'm a half champion, which is okay.
Everyone tells you you're half champion. I don't even know what that means.
Which means, a two-teamer that one's other half is champion, other's not. So basically what I mean is that Michigan won Natty last year, so I'm technically a champion as a fan.
Well, I had a headache before the show started. You're twisting my brain into all kinds of pretzel knots that I didn't even know existed. You're a half champion.
According to people,
I'm not very smart. This is a conundrum for me.
Well, sorry to conundrum your brain, I guess.
Yeah. Don't do that.
But anyways, I think Michigan's gonna do good enough to get to the playoffs, but probably not go far, but maybe. But we'll see what happens on the field. I mean, only the team will tell on the field. Actually,
yeah.
Because
I think everybody thinks Michigan's going to be pretty good. But what about your other team? Since you brought them up, I didn't bring them up. You did. What about Nebraska?
I think Nebraska's going to be improved. Not good, but improved.
Not good, but improved. Damn, that's a hell of an endorsement there.
I meant like not good. Like
Matt Rule's second year, you don't think he's going to be any good?
No, I'm saying he's not going to be good for a playoff. I think he's going to be good enough to be a bowl game, but not a playoff.
See, this is the problem. And I'm not directing this at you, Nate. I'm directing this at everybody else that's watching that thinks the same thing. Everybody's idea of good and great is different. Clearly, I'm probably in the minority. Everybody uses the playoff as a measure. If they don't make the playoff, they're not good. No. First of all, good is relative to the program, right? If Wake Forest wins 10 games, that's great, right? If Georgia wins 10 games, everybody's fucking disappointed about it. Yeah. Same with Clemson. They win 9 games, they're trash. Well, they ain't never going to win nothing ever for the rest of the history of history because they won 9 games one time in 12 years. Oh my God. What a fucking travesty. Everybody's idea of what great and good is, I'm consistent. I'm consistent.
I believe it.
Is not. I think any team wins 9 games in the current state of college football. That's a good team. Are they great? No, but they're damn good. No. It's hard to win.
No, I agree with you. What you said like 5 seconds ago, that you said, are they great? No, but are they good? Yes. I agree on that with Nebraska, what they can be for this year. I mean, they have their quarterback. Well, freshman, quarterback, true freshman. How long has the team started a true freshman, like of any Power 5 team? I'm
going to be honest with you now. I have no fucking idea what you just said. Can you say it again?
What was the last team that started a true freshman? What was the last team?
Who was the last team that started a true freshman? Yeah. Probably all of them. Be more specific. Are you talking about quarterback?
Yeah, quarterback.
I don't know. I'm sure there's one last year. I don't know. It's a fucking college football Jeopardy. I'm not good at that. I don't know. I'm sure somebody can name one.
I was just curious. That's all. I mean.
Yeah. I don't know. What's your point?
Well, I had a point. I was curious about what I was going to say, but because I didn't.
Don't make me think. Please don't make me think.
No, I'm not asking you to answer. I was just curious, but anyways, look, Michigan. I still believe Michigan's going to be Ohio State. I get Ohio State's a more talented team on paper and maybe on roster wise, but due to the fact that Michigan has beat them like 3 years in a row, and people still believe that Ohio State's going to beat them, is kind of insanity. But although I do get the roster wise gap, I mean, I just don't get why that people just keeps rooting or not rooting, just picking the loser each and every year if they win. I mean, that's I we will have to see that. We gotta wait and see that until the end of the year. But I still believe that Michigan's gonna beat Ohio State and Columbus. So
yeah, good luck with that.
Well,
good luck with that.
They did it last year, so they beat they did beat Ohio State and Columbus 2021 or 2022.
Yeah, we're not talking about last. We're talking we're talking about this year. You do realize that it's not the same players in your case, coaches, as last year.
Yeah. Well, technically, one coach is there. That's from last year.
Okay. Yeah, you got an entire new coaching staff. You got an entire new roster. Ohio State's loaded. Now I hope you do. I hope you do beat them.
Like Michigan has nothing to like. You guys act like Michigan just literally had done nothing from last year.
No, I didn't say that. What I said was Ohio State's going to be better in 20. That's what I'm saying. It's really not that difficult. You're reading way too far into it. I didn't say Michigan's going to be this or that. I think Ohio State's better. That's all.
Well, I got to see to believe that they're better.
Okay. Yeah.
They
cool.
haven't beat Michigan.
All right. We'll find out together. All right. Thank you, Nate.
All right.
All right.
See you, buddy.
Ah, damn. Somehow I'm even more confused than I was before that phone call. What's up? You're on with Pete.
Hey, what's up, Pete?
How you doing, buddy?
Ain't nothing, just chilling. I've been on Uncle Lou's show, listening to his show. I see you came back on. I've been checking for your show to come back on, but I catch your videos here and there.
Yeah, you've been doing a lot of checking, then, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen all your videos.
I think I've done two call. I mean, I do the ACC show, but I've only done 2 call-in shows. I think in the past 6 months. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, I know you follow the ACC better than I do. So how good is Miami gonna be this year?
Well, if they don't shit down their leg like they normally do, I think they're going to be at least the second best team in the ACC, maybe the best. We'll find out. I think they're in the top 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got them at 10-2 or 11-1.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think they should be pretty good. And my next question is: so, do you think they'll beat Florida in Game 1?
I do.
Florida?
Yeah, I do.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's not actually in Florida. It's a neutral site.
Yeah, Florida might be in trouble.
Yeah, Florida's terrible.
Yeah.
Now,
they hyping up this the quarterback guy though. What's his name? Lagway.
Yeah, DJ Lagway.
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot about him. I seen some of the spring game. He looked pretty good, but I mean, Uncle Lou made a good point. He looked pretty good versus garbage defense. The defense he was playing was garbage.
Where's the game? It's in Jacksonville. BB and said, I just unsubscribed. That's impossible because I can still read your comment. So you didn't unsubscribe. But yeah, no, I think Miami beats Florida.
Okay.
I think though there's two games that Miami really has to worry about. One of them is Virginia Tech, and the other is obviously Florida State.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now I know you follow Clemson. Does Clemson? I know Clemson has Klubnik coming back and Will Maffa. But who are the receivers that they throw? Like, who are his receivers?
Oh, I mean, you want me to name all of them? You got leading the.
Did they have some like supposedly like big name people? Or
yeah,
like...
Tyler Brown, Antonio Williams. Those are the two guys. Tyler Brown last year was a standout receiver for Clemson, but probably the best receiver on the team as a true freshman. I expect him to have a big year this year. Antonio Williams is now a veteran, a junior. Ironically enough, probably the best receiver outside of those two is going to be the tight end Jake Brenningstool. He had a big year last year. Got a couple of hotshot young guys coming in. TJ Moore, Brian Wesco is another one a lot of people are excited about. And then you had a lot of guys that were injured last year. Troy Stellato. I know people like to make fun of the Clemson's white receivers, but that guy's an absolute ball. He might be the fastest guy on the fucking offense, actually. But he got hurt in week 1, I think, last year.
Well, I done seen a lot of good players come through Clemson's program recently. In the past decade or so. And y'all had some top receivers. Mike Williams, I remember y'all had. Mike Williams was a beast.
Oh, man, Clemson was for about a 5 or 6 year period, they were an absolute factory.
Starting Renfro was a great slot receiver.
Yeah.
He was pretty good. That whole team, I think that was Clemson's best team ever. I think they were better than.
You think about back when Taj Boyd was there. They had Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins and DeAndre Hopkins on the same team at the same time. Think about that.
Sammy Watkins from Fort Myers. That's where I'm. Yeah. I'm from near the same place down there. I know about Sammy.
And DeAndre Hopkins was an absolute fucking beast. Still is in the NFL too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Pete, I would just enjoy your show. I was just listening in, just getting ready for football season. I try to get as much information as possible. Hey, real quick, who do you think is going to win between Georgia Tech and Florida State on the 24th?
Well, look, I picked Georgia Tech to win, so I got to stick by my pick. But out of all of the games that I picked for Florida State, that's the one I'm least confident about them losing. I was trying to find an upset on their schedule. But
I kind of trust Haynes King a little bit more than DJ Uyagale.
Look, I'm with you.
Yeah,
the Florida State fans are in for a rude awakening, and it's not because DJ's a terrible quarterback, because he's not terrible, but he's slightly above average or average. That's just what he is. He started 3 years, started 2 years at Clemson, started at Oregon State last year. His stat sheet all 3 years looks almost identical. He is a barely over 50% passer. He's good for maybe 2,000 yards passing a year. He had a couple of years that were higher than that. But he is what it is. He's an interception machine. He's just not consistent.
I don't think it's about what DJ does. I think it's more so it's going to be about what does Haynes King do, because I seen Haynes King play a couple games last year.
I'm with you.
Pretty good though. He looked okay.
Yeah, what Haynes King do though?
What will Haynes King do? That's the question.
No, I'm with you. He's dangerous. I think the real question is Georgia Tech's defense. They're a little bit of a question mark. The offense, I think, is going to be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got a pretty good offensive line too. All right.
Yep. All right, Pete. Well, great talking to you, Pete. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right.
Wayne Campbell checking in. What's up? You're on with Pete.
Hey, how do you think UTEP's going to do this year,
Pete? I don't know. 1, 2, 3. 3 and 9. 3 and 9. I have no idea who they play.
I'm going to go to Vegas right now and
take the under, whatever it is.
That last caller brought up a really funny point. Why are Florida fans hyping up DJ Lagway like he's going to play?
I don't know. To be honest, I haven't really seen a lot of Florida fans hyping up anything. They're kind of, for the first time in a long time, it's been somewhat quiet this offseason, but we're more than normal.
Yeah, Octavian's been the flag bearer this offseason.
Boy, if Octavian's your flag bearer, and I love Octavian, don't get me wrong, but that's a sad state of affairs. That tells you where you're headed.
Well, yeah, I mean it should. When Octavian and George are the best and brightest amongst you.
Oh man, not
Celine's
George.
Celine's gone full Huffer Billy Paul pessimism.
Yeah. I talked to Hufferbilly at the beginning of the show for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck he was talking about. I have no idea what he was talking about.
Well, you know why?
That's probably more my fault than his, but whatever.
Yeah, you didn't look and listen.
I didn't look and listen. You're right. I'm not a good listener. My trap runs pretty quickly, but my brain doesn't absorb information very quickly. So it is what it is. But
no, I get it. Oh God, I'm having a brain fart. I had something else I wanted to ask you. It was something to do with Clemson. I completely, and this is something I just honestly don't know, so I wanted an answer to this because I haven't heard many talk about it. Outside of Maffa, who have you got in that running back room that's proven?
Nobody proven. Nobody proven. A bunch of guys that we're hoping are going to be good. Jarvis Green's one of them. The other guy whose name I can't pronounce, it's an Uyunglele type name. Ozempic. No, he's probably like the highest rated running back behind Maffa, the Ozempic dude.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name?
Shit, I don't know.
He's a true freshman, so you got to give me time to learn this guy's name. But
I come up with nicknames for him like you because I can't pronounce it either.
Yeah, no, he's Uzema something. I don't know. It's one of those names. I'll have to learn how to say. But yeah, but you're right. So listen, they've got like 6 or 7 running backs on scholarship. So it's not like they've got an empty stable. But outside of Maffa, we have no fucking idea what the rest of them are going to look like. No idea. I'm expecting.
Maffa's not going to be able to keep the same numbers up trying to carry the ball 35 times a game.
Yeah, and I think that's what the plan's going to be early on. I really do. And maybe not 35 like they did against Notre Dame last year. He got like 35 or 36 carries, whatever it was. But that's not sustainable throughout an entire season. So I'm probably thinking, though, he probably will get between 25 and 30 carries a game, which is still a heavy load. So I'm actually really excited to see who, and I think there's still a competition going on because you've got a couple of, redshirt sophomores, redshirt juniors who have been there but haven't really played much, and then you got the new guy coming in who's highly touted. I'm assuming they're going to probably do sort of an on-field tryout for the first 4 or 5 games to figure out who the solidified backup is. I don't think they've released their depth chart yet, and I don't really know who that guy is. Maybe Green. It's probably Green. Yeah,
that's something I'd like to see Clemson or Dabo do, which, I mean, he's not really apt to do before, but I think this is the time where you kind of go running back by committee.
That's what it's going to be. I feel like there's going to be a tryout. Well, first of all, there's no question who the number 1 running back is. It's going to be Maffa. After that, I think there's 2 or 3 guys who are going to be competing for that second spot for the first few games. David Eziomume. And I probably just butchered his name, but there you go. That's what his name is. I was going to call him Ozempic.
Yeah, Ozempic will work. About like I'm about to leave here from Tennessee.
Ozempic.
See, that's something that I've kind of focused on this offseason because obviously everybody's focused on Cam Ward with Miami.
Yeah.
But we've got Mark Fletcher back averaged right at or almost 7 yards a carry, and 2 other backs that average 5 yards a carry, and they're very much your change of pace backs because Damian Martinez and Mark Fletcher are kind of bigger dudes, but Chris Johnson Jr. and A.J. Allen are the guys that when they get in the open field, they got a 6th gear to kick it into.
Yeah, I think Miami's backfield's going to be scary. What about receiver though? Who's your number 1 receiver?
Well, obviously Restrepo's going to be
Restrepo. He's
the biggest target. I mean, Restrepo, George, and then the transfer from Houston because he had 800 yards receiving last year.
Yeah.
And then Elijah Lofton has kind of stepped into that kind of taller possession receiver. 50-50 ball kind of guy, like the receiver that transferred to Georgia from Miami.
Mm-hmm. What about that? What about the tight end that you had last year? Is he back?
Oh, what, the one that followed Mario? That ninth year? Yeah, he's still there.
He's still there. Okay.
But I actually don't think you'll see much of him because for a change, our tight end room is healthy, and might actually finally get to see Elijah Arroyo, who, I mean, people that follow recruiting much more closely than me have said, regardless of position, he might be the best athlete on the field.
Wow. That's saying a lot because you got a lot of athletes on the field there. What about offensive line? Do you think Miami has the best offensive line in the ACC coming into the season?
Quite possibly.
Who would be a close? Let's say that Miami had the best offensive line. Who would you consider to be second?
Florida State's got to be up.
I was about to say Florida State myself. I think if somebody that would give Florida State a run for their money, as much as I hate to say it, NC State.
Yeah, that would be a close third in my book.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be between Miami and Clemson on who's got the best D-line in the conference.
I think that's fair. Probably the best front seven, not just the D-line.
Yeah, well, listen, I don't have a worry in the world about our linebacker room.
Well, I think Clemson's got the best linebacker in the ACC in Barrett Carter. Now, we could probably argue that the cows come home, but we might be playing a true freshman. Sunshine number 2, Sammy Brown, might be starting at linebacker.
Yeah, and I don't think I'd argue with you that he's probably the best linebacker. But then, of course, I'm going to put Mauanoa's older brother as a close second behind him.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think we're going to be starting any true freshmen, but I think you're going to see a lot of rotation at that outside backer position because sometimes, they run a star like most schools do nowadays, that hybrid safety outside backer. But depending on the set, they also run, a traditional outside backer that's kind of a hybrid end too. And depending on which one it is, it's going to depend on who gets in. And for example, somebody would play like the hybrid end, Robbie Washington's 6'4", 235, runs 4.40.
Yeah.
Seems like a great place for him.
Yeah, Clemson's going to do. I think they're going to do something pretty interesting on the defensive line this year. They've got they've got definitely their first string is elite defensive linemen, but I think they're going to move our boy Peter Woods around. Peter Woods, true freshman last year, 5-star, one of the best defensive linemen in the country. I think they're going to move him around from end to the inside, which will give them some flexibility because I think they need it as far as the depth goes.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Ruben Bain do the same thing, but he's going to bounce back and forth between end and on the inside, a lot like Greg Rousseau did when he was there.
Yeah.
Because they've got similar frames, but Bain's a little thicker than Rousseau.
Yeah.
The only question I really have, and a lot of people point to the secondary, and that's half right. I really don't have a question about our corners, the safeties. I obviously do with, the departure of an All-American and James Williams. Cam Kitchens being the All-American. So that's more a lack of experience, not a lack of talent. But I don't see anybody early in the season, like Florida, for example. I mean, Graham Mertz will throw checkdowns all day, but he's not trying to push the ball down the field on you. So I think that's going to be all right as far as breaking in some new safeties.
Yeah. I'm actually excited about Clemson's defensive backfield this year, which I haven't said that in a while. And Rooster in the chat says, didn't Clemson's best defensive back transfer to Texas? No, their best defensive back went to the NFL, and the next 2 best ones are still on the team. So I don't even know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I was about to say, wasn't Wiggins their best?
And Wiggins was by far their best. He's gone. To the NFL. And Khalil Barnes and Avion Terrell are probably their two next best ones, and they're still on the team. They're both sophomores. They were both freshmen last year.
Yeah.
So they've got a good defensive backfield. Again, I feel like a broken record. I really don't see a lot of weaknesses on Clemson's defense this year. Really, the only questions I have are on offense. You know.
Yeah. Well, and my comment, because you brought it up earlier, my comments about him, I mean, I think it's just kind of obvious that Venables, granted, yes, more experience, nobody's doubting that, but it was just a better play caller.
Well, that's like saying that, I mean, Brent Venables might have been the best defensive coordinator in the country when he was there.
Well, and I understand that.
You got a guy who's never been a defensive coordinator. I think he's done a pretty good job, honestly. And it's not necessarily just on the surface, him being a good coordinator, but the position that he was thrown into with the offense taking a huge step back and the defense being asked to do more than, frankly, what Brent Venables' defenses were asked to do. It put him in a tough situation, but they still finished in the top 10 in total defense last year. I mean, and I expect them to do the same this year. So.
Oh, and I agree with that, but you know, I caught hell from Miami in 17 that was put in the exact same position and nobody gave shit.
Yeah.
I still had to listen to it, so I guess that's just how it goes.
I am definitely not mad. There's not a single person with two brain cells to rub together that's like criticizing Wes Goodwin's job in his first couple of seasons at Clemson. I just don't understand where anybody would think that.
Now, I know you've been given this question, but I think I'm going to try and phrase it a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Where does Dabo go from here if he goes 8-4 again?
Where does he go from here?
Does he get pressure from the administration to change his ways, or?
I don't think that Dabo Swinney at this point in his career is somebody that's going to be taking pressure from anybody. I mean, they can put him under pressure, but the pressure will lead to him saying, "Well, go fuck yourself. I'm out of here then." And it's this sort of like this ballerina act between him and the administration. If this were to happen, and first of all, I don't think that's going to happen. So, but just hypothetically, I just feel like he's going to hold the big stick in the argument, and he's not going to budge. So. It'll either be I'm leaving or you're firing me. You choose which one's going to happen, but they're not firing him.
Well, and I know they're not.
And they shouldn't fire him either, honestly.
No, they shouldn't. But at the same time,
they're not going.
I mean, I get your point that they had 1-8-4 season, but this is a gradual. You can see the decline over several years, where the team's just gotten a little bit worse each year.
Well, the only real decline has been the quarterback play.
Well, wide receiver play too. And
when you come off of 3 out of the past 5 quarterbacks for Clemson have been 3 of the best quarterbacks in the history of their program, and all of a sudden you have to live up to that. I don't. I mean.
Well, I get that point, but okay, take away last year. Your wide receiver corps has been on a milk carton since 2020.
Well, yeah, they were on a milk carton because they weren't even on the field because half of them were injured. I get everyone has injuries, huh? Trevor's last year too.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, almost the same situation as the quarterback situation. I mean, when you got to when you're loaded with NFL first round wide receivers and then you go to something else. I mean, I understand the standard is set high, and everyone's. Dabo is the one that set the standard, and he needs to live up to it. But I just don't feel like I think it's extremely unreasonable to just think that every single year is going to be a playoff year. Every single year is going to be a conference championship. It's not an attainable thing for anybody. I mean, not even the best of the best. Georgia is going through it right now, and as great as they are, I'm sorry to tell them. There's going to be a couple of years that are going to leave you scratching your head over the next 4 or 5 years, whether Kirby stays there or not, which he will be there. It's just going to happen. It's college football.
Actually, to your point, now that I think about it, Kirby's only made the playoffs 3 of the seasons he's been there. He's been there, going on 8 years?
What was his first year, 16?
16 was his first season.
Yeah. Right.
And he's only made the playoffs 3 times.
It's hard for people to imagine whenever they're dominating the way that Georgia has in the past few years that they could lose 3 games in a season. But it's coming. It's not my opinion. It's just a fact. It happens to everybody. It's college football. It is where and guess what? If Georgia loses 3 or 4 games this year, which I don't think they're going to, but let's say that they did, that doesn't mean that Georgia's falling off the map and Kirby doesn't know what he's doing anymore. It's called college football. It's what it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, is also the internet. Shit happens isn't a good enough excuse.
And that's where I agree with Dabo and some of his, he defends himself and his team. He's like, do you know how hard it is to win consistently in this business? And it is, because look around. I mean, there's very, very few teams. I mean, count them on one hand that are consistently winning 10 games a year. Every year.
Yeah, I mean, there's very few teams that stay on top for 20 plus years straight. Very few.
Right.
I mean, Nick Saban almost had it. Obviously he was there 18 years. I mean, guys like Bobby Bowden and Tom Osborne come to mind. Hell, even Miami in their run had, 96, 97, 98. They had a few bad years in there.
Sure, everybody does.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I understand that things have changed and Dabo Swinney has a sort of unorthodox, digging his heels in, more traditional approach to how you build a team and a program. I think that there's, from all the negative things that people think about that, I also think there's some positive things about it. And we just don't know this early with all these changes that have happened so quickly. Everybody's, like I said earlier, in the moment now, overreacting to the now. Nobody knows what the repercussions of all this shit's going to be 5, 10, 15 years from now. So we'll find out together. I mean, and I'm open to all possibilities, falling flat on his face or being right in the end, and people trying to copy what he's doing rather than the other way around. But nobody knows. Nobody knows.
And I think it's funny because in the ACC you really have 2 diametrically opposed positions on it. You have Dabo Swinney, who's no transfers at all. I'm doing it all through high school recruiting. And you have Mike Norvell, who's basically all transfers and has managed 1 top 10 recruiting class since he's been there.
Yeah. Did you hear what he said the other day during the media day thing? And
I haven't watched any of it yet.
So, he said this before too. He said, if I were to leave Clemson tomorrow and go take a job somewhere else, he said, I would be the best transfer portal recruiter in the country because I would be having to replace 50% of my team. He said, but luckily, over the past 15, 16 years at Clemson, we've built a program where people don't leave here. So there's not that much, not that they don't leave, but not compare, as much as other teams. So there's not that many rosters spots to fill compared to other teams. And he's got a point there. I mean, you'd rather retain guys and develop them. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right? But that doesn't mean that there's not a place for the transfer portal. Now, in his defense, he's not against using it. He's just not against, he's just against using it the way that everybody else is using it, which means he gets little to none of them. That's what it means.
Yeah, and I know he's gone after some offensive lines. That's obviously kind of, really that's kind of been his Achilles heel recruiting since he's been there.
Yeah, it has. And he went after a really good one that we lost to Georgia Tech, ironically enough.
That is kind of ironic.
But it came down to, they criticized him about that. He said, well, we loved him as a player. We wanted him. He didn't love us as much as we loved him. And really what it came down to was he got offered money from Georgia Tech. That's what it is.
Right.
And Dabo's not willing to offer you money. He tells him, look, if you come here, we'll do whatever we can to develop you, to prepare you for NFL or whatever else you want to do after you leave here, and we'll work on getting you an NIL deal. But as far as promising you a certain money amount before you commit to us, it's just not. He's just not going to do it. That's not changing.
Right.
It's just never going to change.
And that one, I actually kind of am with him. And I even agree with, I think it was Boise State's coach come out during the off season and said, well, they really ought to make it to where true freshmen aren't even eligible for it. And I kind of agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great comment. Jay said, this isn't Jay Shipe, just Jay. Dabo's offensive line problems about coaching, he's always been decent in recruiting. I've been saying that forever. And now, to his credit, he did get rid of the coach who was part of the problem, in my opinion, and went out and got one of the best offensive line coaching prospects in the country in Matt Luke. So we'll see if that helps. But yeah, I mean, Clemson's offensive line's been loaded with 4 and 5, mostly 4 stars, but it ain't like they're out there, they're not fucking Wake Forest and Duke out there with a bunch of 2 and 3 star offensive linemen. So if you have a roster full of 4-star offensive linemen and the occasional 5-star, they should not look the way that they've looked. That's definitely a coaching problem. So,
and I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I think also the schemes that he's run, the quarterbacks that he's gone after have masked the deficiencies with the offensive line too.
I would agree with that.
Which is why he hasn't had to deal with it till now that he's got Cade Klubnik, who isn't Deshaun and isn't Trevor.
I agree with that. He's stubborn. His stubbornness is a strength and also a massive weakness. I don't really know how you balance the two to see which ones are better, but yeah. So this whole idea that this is Clemson's offense, this is Clemson. He's a scheme guy. We're going to do what we do, no matter whether it's Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, or fucking Cade Klubnik or DJ. Like, I think that's the reason eventually that he went and got Garrett Riley, because Garrett Riley sings a different tune. Now we haven't seen that play out yet after only one season. But Garrett Riley preaches the opposite, which is kind of interesting dichotomy between him and Dabo Swinney, is that they sort of say different things about the offense. Dabo's, an ultimate team guy. We're going to run Clemson offense. We're, no matter who, plug and play, next man up, blah, all that coach bullshit. Garrett Riley says the very opposite. He says, look, we're going to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of these individual players, and I'm going to build the offense around what they do best. And I think that's the approach that's most logical, that most people would think is the most logical thing to do, but that hasn't been the way it's been. I mean, we've been lucky. Well, not 100% luck. I mean, a lot of work went into it too, but we've been lucky to have outstanding players on the offense that, like you said, could mask some of those problems, underlying problems with the offensive line and whatnot. So, but that's not the case now. They've got to make a change, and he did. To his credit, we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm not saying that you're fixing to go back to the Bowden era, but I mean, to your point, I'm not saying stubbornness is a bad thing, but I think everything's better in moderation, and I think he's got to learn in some ways to adapt to the changing landscape of college football.
I agree. Look, no coach. I think he's probably. Let me ask you this, because I'm a Clemson fan, and and I'm on the internet, and everybody knows I'm a Clemson fan. So maybe I just get more of it than everybody else sees. But do you think that Dabo Swinney is the most criticized head coach in major college football right now, or can you name one that's more criticized?
I mean, I hear plenty about Mario, but obviously.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to gauge is if it's just me being a Clemson guy that it hears it more, or if it's actually true.
Like literally, the only thing you brought up media days. The only thing I heard from media days is because somebody DM'd it to me on Twitter, and it may have even been you. I don't remember, but somebody sent it to me on Twitter. Apparently, Luke Fickell took some shots at Mario during media days.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
And well, I'm like, okay, and I don't even completely disagree with his point, but the flip side of that is, why am I going to listen to Luke Fickell, who just hired Alex Grinch as his DC?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Because he's saying Mario in Miami, kind of ruined Tyler Van Dyke, and honestly, I've said a lot of the same. You know, I mean, he just said it a different way what I've been saying, that, you know, 2 head coaches and 4 offensive coordinators is a recipe for failure for anybody, and it is.
Which is why I'm not high on DJ Uiagalelei this year, you know?
Yeah,
it's sort of the same thing. It was like, oh my God, Clemson ruined DJ. He was, you know, he's a 5-star coming out of high school, California, and Clemson ruined him. He's going to do much better at Oregon State. He did the same shit he did at Oregon State. He did at Clemson. He's going to do the same thing at fucking Florida State that he did at Oregon State and Clemson. He just is who he is. But as far as,
I mean, some guys are just 5-star busts. I mean,
yeah.
I've seen him in Miami too.
I hope he does good. I mean, I hope Clemson beats the shit out of him, but I like DJ. But as far as the coach thing goes, a lot of did you see what Mac Brown said about the negative recruiting against him? And he didn't just say negative recruiting against him. He named somebody. He said there's several teams in the ACC who are negative recruiting against me, telling the players that I'm not going to be here next year. And he called out Mike Elko, who's now gone, obviously, to Texas A&M. You know, because they're in the same state, recruiting against the same in-state players. And he said, now, I think they're friends, but he did call him out, and he said he called him after he took the job at Texas A&M and said, congratulations on your job at A&M, but you lied. You lied.
Number one, Mac Brown could fall over dead before the season starts.
Yeah. Now look.
And number 2, negative recruiting is just part of recruiting.
Yeah.
Every recruit that is being considered by that is considering Florida, every other school recruiting them is just sitting in this kid's living room telling him, hey,
look, let me tell you something.
You're a fucking idiot that doesn't know what he's doing.
I love Mac Brown. I think it was a troll job on Mike Elko. I don't think he was really being serious about it, because even Mac Brown knows that he doesn't know if he's going to be there next year, even though when he goes and sits in the living room of his next prospect that he's trying to recruit there, he's telling him, oh yeah, I'll be here for the next 3-4 years. You ain't gonna worry about that. They all say the same shit. None of them even know, especially if you're that old.
I mean, if rumors are to be believed, Nick Saban decided to retire, 5 minutes before?
Yeah, of course. Look, Nick Saban, before last season, was on kids' couches in their living room telling them, I'm not going anywhere. And then guess what? He's gone. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's part of the game. I mean, I can't, obviously I haven't seen a video clip or anything, so I can't judge tone or anything like that, but I hope he was trolling.
I think he was, because I think that, well, first of all, if he's calling Mike Elko to congratulate him on his job at Texas A&M, they're clearly friends. I think he's just, it would be like me calling you and ribbing you, and I think that's what, and of course, but the media gets that quote, they take it out of context and make it sound like there's some kind of beef between them, which there clearly isn't. But still funny though.
I'm actually kind of high on Elko to A&M.
Well, he's better than Jimbo Fisher. There's no doubt about that. I mean, if I'm an A&M fan, they upgraded.
Well, yeah, I mean, considering how Jimbo's done, but I mean, I'd look at it as simply as this: 3 guys ever have won 9 games in a season at Duke, and Mike Elko's one of them.
Yeah. Oh, I think that was
are Cutcliffe and Spurrier.
Yeah, and again, we don't know. I mean, it's a totally different deal at Duke, a place like Duke, than it is at A&M. I get that, but and only time will tell. But if I'm an A&M fan, I'm extremely happy with the hire. I mean, I don't know. What it reminds me a little bit of is the Dan Lanning hire at Oregon. It just seems like the right fit for the right guy at the right time.
All right. Let me say that. I have no hate for Dan Lanning, but the sunshine being pumped up this guy's ass for nothing.
You could
completely beyond me.
You can kind of say the same thing about Mario Cristobal, though. I mean, if you're going to go down that route.
Okay, but both of them were at the same school, and Mario managed to win the conference twice.
Well, I don't know. Do you think that Dan Lanning is not a good hire? I mean, I don't know what you're.
No, I'm not saying he. Okay. When it was being thrown out there that Dan Lanning was one of the first calls for the Alabama job, that just struck me as the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying Dan Lanning's a bad coach, but let's also let's keep it a buck here. Dan Lanning started on third base because of Mario Cristobal.
No, you're right. It's not like Mario Cristobal left Oregon in shambles like a lot of these coaches have to, kind of come in and pick up the pieces. You're right about that. But it's one thing to, inherit a stable program, but he hasn't fumbled the ball here. I mean, Oregon's, I don't know. You're the one that's always preaching to me about how you need to give these guys time, and he's only been there a couple of seasons.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not, once again, I'm not saying he's a bad, but it just baffles my mind that, yes, he needs time. Why is this guy being considered for the Alabama job 2 years into his coaching?
He had every single. I think he had every right to be considered just as much as the guy that they actually hired. I mean.
Well, no. The board's got way more experience, way more of a track record than Dan Lanning does.
I know the Alabama fans, they don't like to hear this. They called Dan Lanning. They were interested in him. Guess who else they called? They called Dabo Swinney, and Dabo Swinney told them thank you, but no thank you. Boy, when you tell them that, they get big mad.
But listen, I said from the beginning, if you didn't at least dial Dabo, Kirby, and a few other people's numbers, you're not doing your job as an AD.
Of course. But of course, they did the whole thing. We don't want Dabo. We don't want Dabo. We don't want Dabo. Well, yeah. Well, good. Because he didn't want you either. Yes, I don't know. I mean,
like I said, I tend to look at the big picture of things. Like when it comes to Mario, people want to poke fun at Mario's record. Well, they don't look at the fact that when he started at FIU, they were literally 0-12 the year before. When he started at Oregon, they were 4-8. And sure, Miami has been as mediocre as they had always been the previous year before Mario got there. But he was head coach number 6 in their 18 years in the ACC.
Yeah.
That's a program in shambles as well.
Don't worry, fools. I'm not putting you on camera. But the only face on ugly mug on the camera is mine. So you're fine. How you doing, buddy?
I was just calling in to order a large pineapple pizza with Canadian bacon, please.
Communist.
Somehow that made more sense than Nate's call. I don't know. Damn.
Yeah, now Fools is here to tell us all about how Miami's going 111-0.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was last season. This season, I think it's more like 212, I think.
You know what Traveling Fools is like? He's like the Flavor Flav of fucking Miami. He's like the hype man. I need to get you one of those chains with the giant clock on it. You can wear that.
No, Uncle Luke's too busy griping about Kamal on Twitter. He ain't got time.
Hey, what is the name of that guy when you guys came to Clemson for the game with us? That Miami guy that I took a picture with. That's whatever. I guess he's famous in the Miami community. I don't know. What's the guy's name?
God, I can't think of his name. Yeah, I know you're talking about. He goes to literally every.
Yeah, he is like the literal hype man for Miami, right? He's like the Flavor Flav.
He's the guy that his brother passed away, I think, and they were. And so he goes to every game wearing a thing in honor.
Yeah, they show him on TV. You know what he's like? He's like that jabroni from Ohio State that they show, that big fat bald guy who paints himself all silver and wears like a fucking cape like he's fucking Ohio State Superman and shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about.
He's like that, but Miami.
Yeah, what about the fat guy sitting in Florida State's stands reading a book?
No, Florida State's got those two idiots that paint themselves, their whole body in garnet and gold glitter.
Oh,
yeah. And they wear like a bodysuit or something.
I hope they are.
Where's my Florida State? Momo. What are those guys called? Those the garnet and gold guys.
Well,
that's what they're called, garnet and gold.
Miami's got the guy in the orange and green Darth Vader mask that goes to every game, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a few of those guys. Yeah. We've got a few tokens, the token fan.
Yeah, I don't think there's a Clemson super fan like that, or at least not that I know of.
I mean, he's not a super fan, but and Miami Herald did a story on this a couple of years ago. Dude hasn't missed a Miami home game except for open heart surgery since like 1963.
Wow. And Georgia had that guy that painted his head like the Bulldog. He died, though, a couple of years ago, I think.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know you're talking about. I remember seeing him on TV.
Well, I think his dad started that tradition. And again, Georgia fans are probably going to roast me because I don't know the story. I'm not a Georgia fan. I think his dad started the tradition. He died. Then his son took it over. And then he died a couple of years ago. I don't know if there's another one that took it over from him.
Still using the old bucket of lead paint.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, those two Florida State fans huffing all that glitter can't be good for you either.
Oh, that's a good point, Christian, in the chat. He says we got the game day guy. Do you know what he's talking about? He's a Clemson fan.
Is that Huffer Billy Paul?
Yeah, we got Paul. That's right. We got Paul.
Fucking jean shorts and New Balance. That's the epitome of Clemson right there.
We got Paul and Bobby Durkins. Holy shit. No, the game day guy was the guy they showed on game day when there was game day in Clemson one time, and he was like spazzing out. Like, I don't know how to explain what he was doing. He looked like a mental patient. But they still replay that clip every time that they come to Clemson of that crazy guy. But as far as a guy that dresses up in Clemson stuff, I know who we got. How did I forget? We got the hat. Do you know who the hat is?
No, who's that?
No.
Dean Cox, I think is his name. I got to pull this up and show you this fucking guy. Jackpot did a whole video on him one time where he made it sound like it was a real story where he met the hat. It was obviously a fake story. And at the end of the story, he takes off the hat of the guy, and farts in it. Let me see if I can find this.
I thought you were going to say the mascot on the sideline was actually a fan that just hopped the stands.
I can't believe I didn't even think about this guy. This is the Clemson super fan that everybody knows. He goes to every game. He gets invited. He's like, the players and the coaches all know him. He's like a 70-year-old dude who has this like big giant fucking orange cowboy hat with all these trinkets and fucking shit all on it.
I've seen it.
You know what I'm talking about?
I've seen pictures of him.
Yeah. I've actually talked to the guy before.
It's better than Alabama. They got fucking Roll Tide Willie.
Roll Tide Willie.
Dude, did you see when we met Nick Saban? Like, that was the most awkward handshake I've ever seen in my life.
This is him right here. For all of you watching on, sorry, I'm going to show you a picture of the hat. This guy's got some kind of sick ass fucking man cave too, with like a lot of expensive Clemson memorabilia. He's been to like every game for the past fucking 50 years or whatever it is. Here he is. There's the hat. Now the thing about the hat is, people try to steal the hat from him. Opposing fans.
That's not cool. I'm not down.
No. But he's definitely had the hats try to be stolen a couple times. Yeah, that's him right there.
You know what I think is cool? That Miami fan that dresses up in like full pads and a jersey in the stands in Miami games.
That was who I thought you were talking about earlier. That's the guy whose brother.
I actually followed him on Twitter. But they weren't even selling those newest blackout jerseys. And the fucking equipment manager gave him some, so he could show up to the game blacked out like the team.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, unfortunately, it was the Georgia Tech game, so yeah, time to do away with those. I like that they've kind of gone back to the originals, the ones they debuted in 17 with the matte black helmets.
Yeah, I like when they wear those uniforms, the blackouts, something but not until your team's good again. Like when they suck and you do that kind of stuff, it's kind of defeating the purpose. It just makes you look like idiots. Like when they do like the Miami Knights and then we get blown out by somebody. It's like, come on.
I mean, I don't mind it. My thing is, instead of doing 3 different versions of the blackout, which they've done, stick with the fucking originals. They haven't done a throwback of the green and gold with the warning flags on the helmet since like 05. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. Well, this is where Slim, you and I differ just a little bit. I'd rather have a stadium than a jersey.
Yeah, well, a jersey you're getting paid for. A stadium you have to pay for.
Right. Well,
that was one when Dabo got the job at Clemson. That was one of the first things he changed was a uniform thing, because he was an assistant for a long time there before he got the head coaching job, and he's like every week we spent way too much time discussing on what jerseys we were going to wear that week and what color scheme. So he said, I'm just going to simplify this shit and take it out of everybody's hands. It's white, white away, white pants, orange top at home, all orange in playoff type situations, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like there's no alternate uniforms. I think one time I think he did the orange.
Like it.
Huh?
That's what the players like it.
Yeah, but his philosophy, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. His philosophy is they don't need to be worried about the jersey. They need to be worried about what the fuck they're going to do on Saturday on the field.
I mean, I agree with that, but at the same time, shit, they're in college. Let them have some fun.
No, I get it, and I wish that they would do every once. And one time he did, and I'm not a big fan of it, but Bobby Bowden used to do this color combination with the orange pants and the purple jersey together, which I think is just not. I don't think it really looks good, but a lot of Clemson fans like it. They did that one year under Dabo, I think, one time, but that's it. I mean, I would like to see a white Clemson helmet, an all-white jersey, and an all-white Clemson helmet with an orange paw on it. I think that would look clean, but he's not going to do it. As long as Dabo's there, they're not going to do it.
Well, and they pretty much, Mark Richt pretty much instilled the same thing when he came to mind, because remember, under Mark Richt, as soon as he got there, they changed the uniform.
Yeah, that's right, Christopher. The all-purple jerseys they do once a year for Military Appreciation Day. Yeah, that's part of it. He's got like a set schedule, so there's no thinking about it. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. And like I know as far as Miami, like it's all your road games are one jersey, all your away games are another, and they just pick out two throughout the year. Okay, we're doing the black out here, we'll do a white out here.
Yeah. I mean, and you got the complete, complete juxtaposition of that with like Oregon, where they just have some crazy shit. They never wear the same jersey twice, same helmet twice, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally they'll throw like the green ones in, but they did that more under Mark Richt and Manny than they have under Mario. They have, they just don't do it very often. Like,
I don't know. I also think it matters where you are, because a place like Miami, Miami's a flashy place.
It is.
So I don't really see anything wrong with having flashy uniforms. If you're Miami, that wouldn't work at Clemson.
Like the rumor for the Florida game is they're going to go in all orange tops and bottoms.
Yeah, I would like that.
And they did that when they played Florida in 2013.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm somewhat of a, maybe I'm just old. I like the traditional uniforms, like Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, like those. I don't know. That's just me. I'm
kind of with you, but I agree with Uncle Lou too. Like all the recruits want to come in and take pictures in the whites or the blacks. I mean, find a game and do it. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, like I said, then of course, left coast's going to be the left coast. Oregon's going to go overboard with the shit.
Yeah, I love the
1,000 different combinations.
I love the solid purple, uniforms that Clemson wears once a year. But there's people like, oh, they need to wear those more often. I'm like, no, that kind of takes the whole point away. Like the fact that they only wear them once a year is what makes it good.
Yeah. And see, I'm with that. Like, okay, one game's a blackout, one game's a whiteout. Everything else is your typical home or away. I'm fine with that.
And then you get the idiots that are like, oh, we can't wear that uniform because the last time we wore that color scheme, we lost. Like, shut up.
Yeah, guess what? I don't care if we win or lose. I still wash my fucking underwear.
Yeah, me too.
And my socks.
I told you what Mrs. Peete does. She won't watch Third Down.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah. No, not because she's scared to see it, because she thinks she's going to affect the game. She thinks if she's going to watch it, they won't convert a third down.
Which we all know is bullshit because anybody who's watched a Peete stream has heard Mrs. Peete screaming at the top of her lungs.
Well, yeah, after the play's over, she'll look. Yeah.
Bullshit! That is bullshit!
I still think you need to put a camera, cut a hole in your floor and put a camera so we can get a Mrs. Peete view while she's watching the game.
I mean, that's a great idea and all, but I do want to be married this time next year, so.
Well, I didn't say put it in your bedroom.
It doesn't matter where I put it.
Or a microphone or something. Like Mrs. Pete's commentary during a game stream, I think would be YouTube gold.
Yeah. Oh, it would be. I would do it if she would let me. Well, I'm the one that volunteered for this bullshit, not her. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, my wife's pretty much the same way. She's like, whatever, you go be an idiot. Leave me out of it.
Right.
And I hate when you realize you've been muted for a while. I'm like, why doesn't anybody pay attention to me? And I'm like, oh,
you're Traveling Fools is over there talking to himself for the past 5 minutes.
I've been arguing with people in the chat and all kinds of shit,
And what's bad is he's the technical expert of the bunch here.
Oh, man.
Oh, really? Yeah. No, what I was saying is Mrs. Peete going to do some more of those game day cooking shows?
That's completely up to her.
Okay.
But I'm not involved in it. I've already did. So that's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay.
So if she wants to make the video, and I'll be happy to upload it on my channel.
Yeah, we need some more what was it, game day grub videos?
Yeah, game day. They're good too.
Yeah, I actually liked them. A few of those things actually look like they'd be good.
The behind the scenes is probably better than the video, though. Me getting yelled at for 3 hours straight. That's what it was.
We need a blooper reel of that eventually.
Oh, my God.
The blooper reel of the cooking video. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd probably lead to a divorce quicker. Sticking a microphone through the floor.
So, Pete, do you plan on breaking any headphones this
I don't
season?
plan on. I never plan on breaking anything.
Okay.
No, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
I mean, if I tell you that somebody wasn't as good as they really were in college, are you going to break something?
No, I'm not going to. Not for that.
Cam Newton wasn't all that good in college.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's cool. Well, good, man. Good to have your show back. I've been listening, so good to.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Great show too. Great show. Some great calls.
Is my pizza free if it's not here in 30 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Just making sure. All right, well, I'm going to bounce out of here. I got to finish doing a couple things. But, yeah, what do we got? 20-something days? Is that true?
What is it? Yeah.
Till week 1, but it's obviously less than that.
It's like 20. I think the first game's on the 24th, right? Or 23rd. One of the two. So, yeah, 22 or 23 days.
So, week 1, what is that the Georgia Tech?
Well, it's week 0.
That's week 0.
Yeah, week 0.
That's the game. Because I think that Thursday you've got a game. That's the Colorado, what is that, North Dakota State?
Yeah.
Now, is that the games that are in like...
The Buffaloes will win that game.
Is that the game that's in like 24 days? Is that week? That's week 0, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's FSU and Georgia Tech. That's the only game worth.
That's the one that's worth watching. Week 0, yeah.
And that's in
probably
Ireland.
will watch that Colorado game.
Yeah, it's in Dublin.
It'll be fun to listen to all the Dion stands after they get beat by North Dakota State.
That would be awesome. That would be great to see that.
I like the Ireland game. I think that's cool. I know some people are like, and I'm not a huge fan of neutral site games, but if you're going to do a neutral site, fucking do it big and take it to Ireland. I like it.
What time will that game air? Do you know yet?
Well, they're 5 hours ahead of us, aren't they? So.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think it's 8 o'clock their time, so 3 o'clock here, maybe? Something like that.
Wow, so who's the prime time that week, or is there even a prime time worth of shit?
Maybe I don't know.
I think that might be the primetime game, even though it's at 3 o'clock. I don't know. There might be some, lower classification group of 5 game that week. I don't know, but yeah, I think it's like
in front of computers and we don't know.
Yeah, I'm too lazy to even look it up. It's at like 3 or 3:30.
You want me to look it up? I can do it real fast.
Look, every time I ask a question and go to look it up, there's 18 people in the chat that have already typed it in there. So I just throw it out there and let the chat do their work.
All right, here you go. I've got it lined up for you. So you have Saturday, August 24th. The matchup is Florida State, Georgia Tech, 12 o'clock p.m.
Wow.
Yeah. So
then at 4 o'clock, you've got Montana State versus New Mexico State. At 8 o'clock, we've got Southern Methodist versus Nevada. And then at 11:59, okay, they had to keep it on that day. 11:59, we have Delaware State versus Hawaii.
Oh, that game's got to be in Hawaii if it's at midnight. Yeah.
But definitely not Delaware.
SMU brings up a great point. What do you think of our old buddy Mr. Rooster Man putting in his pick of SMU to win the conference their first year in it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Rooster Man knows I'm a betting man, and I'll bet him any amount of money he wants to bet to fucking SMU's not winning the ACC. So, balls in his court, I guess. It's not happening.
I don't think it's happening neither.
No.
Now, I do think Brett Lashley's a good coach, and I think, give him a year or two, and they can acclimate to the Power 4, Power 5, whatever you want to call it.
I don't really think he believes that. I think that's just his way of throwing shade at the ACC. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, why is it always the crappy teams in the SEC that want to wave that SEC banner the most?
Well, you just answered your own question.
You got to go somewhere else to find somebody to mess with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a bunch of good games week 1 either, except for is that Georgia Clemson? Yeah, they play at noon.
Yeah, you got Georgia Clemson.
Why is that game not at 8 o'clock at night?
Here we go again.
Well, yeah, I guess that's
Texas A&M is at
Notre Dame.
There's 3 really good games that day.
Yeah, Miami and Florida, Clemson and Georgia.
That really matters.
Well, yeah.
Well, no, but yeah.
Well, you got Georgia Tech and Georgia State at 8, so that could be a pretty good nail biter.
Notre Dame and A&M at night. That's the prime time. That 8 o'clock game.
7:30, yeah, 7:30 kickoff.
And I completely agree with that line. Like, I keep going back and forth on that game.
What is the line?
It was like 1.5 last time I saw it.
Notre Dame.
It says right now, I'm looking at it. It says even.
There you go.
Yeah, it's gonna finish somewhere. It probably won't be more than a point by kickoff. Either way.
Like I get Elko's in his first year, and I'm high on Elko, but it is his first year. But man, at the same time, with Riley Leonard at quarterback, I think Notre Dame is going to be so one-dimensional on offense.
Well, Miami's a negative 2.5, and Georgia's a negative 13.5.
That one hasn't moved very much. I think it bumped up to 3 for a little bit, but then went back down to 2.5.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I'm out of here. Pete, glad to have you back on the air, and hope to see it again soon.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
All right, Slim, have a great night, brother. See you, Pete.
Yes, sir.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah. That's actually going to do it for me, too.
Okay.
So.
Well, I definitely missed the show. I'm glad to have it back. Hope to see more Pete on the YouTube airwaves.
Yeah, you won't get rid of me for at least the next 4 or 5 months, so buckle up. But thank you for the kind words, my friend.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
All right. Talk to you soon. All right, everybody. First call-in show well, not first call-in show in 6 months, but one of the, anyway, you get what I'm saying. Massive success. Thank you to all the callers, all the commenters, everybody that sent in super chats and supported the show that way. You guys are all amazing and fantastic. Like I said, I'll be doing this show every single Wednesday night for the next 4 or 5 months throughout the season, at least, and some Friday nights. So just keep your notifications on. Obviously, if you're not subscribed to my second channel, I don't know what you're doing. The midday show, that's the only thing I do over there is the midday show, and I also post pointless gun videos too every once in a while. Anyway, go check that out. Subscribe to that if you haven't. Look forward to a great season, and that's it. Have a great rest of your... No, it's not. It's Thursday now. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Your boy's checking out.